as we head into the new year, many people are carrying fatigue from the festive period while trying to reset and prepare for what lies ahead. For families, the return to work and the reopening of schools bring new routines, expectations, and even pressures. Now, joining us now to look at practical ways to reset, manage stress, and start the year on a healthier footing is Naledi Mqhayi, a clinical psychologist. Naledi, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. In fact, let's start with this year. I mean, social media often, amplifies this image of togetherness and fun and celebration during this time, particularly for those who are entering the new year alone, whether by choice, by loss, or other reasons. What are some of the healthy ways, to mark this year and to transition without feeling isolated from others?
Good afternoon, Unati. Good afternoon to your viewers. Like you correctly say, not everybody is surrounded by the loved ones for various reasons. Other people could be working away from their families in other countries or for reasons that they choose to be on their own. However, that doesn't mean they need to be lonely. Being alone doesn't always mean loneliness. It just means you choose to be isolated or you're isolated for whatever reasons. So what I can say is that whilst you are in that space where you are alone, there are various ways of connecting with people or connecting with even nature to keep yourself company. It is very useful for somebody to start identifying first what are the things that are interesting in their own lives. You might find that we've got hobbies that can keep you going, like exercising. You may be a person who likes walking, or you can do your nature walks, or you may get involved in activities that you enjoy, whether is it sport or is it extramural activities that you enjoy, or even church events. And being with other people doesn't necessarily mean you have to be with family. You can invite yourself to other people's families, you can invite yourself to friends or have other friends that have similar interests with you, or join them, or even look around in your community. There will usually be some publications in certain communities where they can tell you what are the activities around, and then you join them and have fun with other people, whether you know them or you don't know them.
We are showing, of course, those visuals of, back to school. And I want us to then talk about resetting, post the festive season. Of course, it's back to school, it's back to work. I mean, is it realistic to expect an immediate reset in January? Or is there a better time and, perhaps some simple ways in which people can use to recharge just before going back to work, but going back to school?
As if you were listening, I was talking to a member of my family this morning and actually saying, it's very important for one to be realistic about what they can do and what they cannot do. Festive season is a very hectic time and people are involved in a lot of festivities. But unfortunately, some people find themselves having to start work immediately next week or even at the end of this week. However, it is upon an individual to decide that as of today or tomorrow, I am stopping all activities. Anything that I'm invited to that I cannot actually exert myself in, let me say no and be okay with saying no, I can't, because you need recovery time. Whether is it a day, 2 days, or a week before you restart your year, it is very important for you to have that recovery time, because the recovery time will not only benefit you physically, but also emotionally and mentally, whereby you're going to sit down and plan what is it that you want to do in the coming year. It is very important for you to take out a journal and write down and set up goals for yourself to say, before I start a new year, I need to focus on what would I want to achieve. Set up things that you want to make sure that you do. They may not be all possible, they may not all be realistic, but at least you're starting somewhere. And as the year goes, you review them and see what is realistic, what is not, what is achievable, and what is not. However, it's important for you to have something to work on, because if you don't, you're going to always be dealing with crisis and having to deal with things that are out of hand all the time because you have no plan.
Yeah. And just talking about those plans, I mean, often we see in January specifically, associated with these resolutions, a new year, a new me kind of thinking. How can people reframe those expectations, though, instead of, trying to be perfect? What's the realistic picture that people can start then, to build on?
There's no perfect way of doing your resolutions, but I always say it's good to start somewhere. Starting somewhere, I believe that if you write down things that you want to achieve, whether realistic or unrealistic, there's a starting point. Then as time goes on, refine them. Don't be too hard on yourself by wanting to be perfect. And also accept that some of the things you may not do them the way you wish to do them, but at least you would have done something. Start with that something. And every milestone you achieve, no matter how little, you celebrate it and you see it as something positive because it shows you that you are capable of changing things. So it is also very important for one to understand that there's no ideal way of making resolutions. Stop putting yourself under pressure as to the typical New Year's resolution. I have to travel 45 countries in this year, or I have to lose 20 kilograms. That might not be possible with the resources that you have. That may not be possible with the lifestyle that you have. Look at what is it that is around you. What are the resources that you have around you? They will give you an idea as to what are your ideals, and therefore refine them as time goes on. And when you have something written, whether it's a list, at least you have something that will keep on, you reflect back on. And if you don't achieve some out of your list, then you still have the next month to decide, okay, out of the list that I didn't do, what can I aim for? And then every time you're adding and reducing some of the things that you've set, I promise you, by the time you get to Easter, you would have moved a mile and you would see that, wow, actually I've achieved more than I thought I would because I had done something, and actively work on your achievement list.
I like that. Naledi, of course, we're looking at January, the second or third week is back to school. That often comes with a lot of stress, particularly for parents. You mentioned resources. For those that are trying to manage their resources, their stresses, how do they then support their children emotionally too while going to school, while still handling these resources? Or lack thereof, actually.
For parents, yes, thank you, Maria. For parents who are preparing to go to school, it is very important, again, don't put yourself under pressure for things that are going to be difficult for you to achieve. I know parents, at some point I was raising small people. Parents always would like their kids to have certain type of shoes, certain type of shirts, certain type of lunch boxes or whatever. But sometimes some of these things are very costly, and you might find that you don't have enough resources to manage them. Not even financially, even emotionally. You might find yourself that you are in a town or a city where you don't have support system. You're the only one, and you have to be at work, and your child have to be dropped at school, and you are not able to do that. It's very good for you to look for people around you, around your community, around your school, who have transport that you can share with others. Get to know people, and by talking to people and establishing relationships with people, you might be surprised at the kind of support you will have, where other parents can share with you. Where you can't, they can pick up where you can't. Go with your children to school, you pick up the children. Or sometimes when they have certain things or going to events, you are not available, they are available. Because again, you'll find that these days, you find a lot of people parenting alone as single parents. And it's very difficult for you to have shifts as to who picks up, who drops, and who does all that. Communal living helps in such. And communal living doesn't mean you have to be friends with everybody, but at least make contact and establish relationships with people that you share common values with, that you know that they can be helpful around where you are. And when it comes to expectations, sit down with your children. Let them understand what you're capable of doing and what you are able to do now and what you are not able to do now. And that doesn't mean when you can't do it now, you will not be able to do it later. You might be able to do it 2 weeks' time or in a month's time. And be realistic and learn to negotiate with your children about what you will do and what you cannot do and when that can be done.
Yeah, managing those expectations, very, very key. Naledi, thank you so much for your insights and for your time. Really do appreciate it. Naledi Mqhayi is a clinical psychologist. Key nuggets there to get you through to the New Year's Eve as well as the year ahead.